An Australian summer, with temperatures pushing 40 degrees, the air crackled with a strange kind of electricity, though no storm was in sight. The story begins in the bustling suburbs of Brisbane, where Derek Helios grew up. By all accounts, Derek was an ordinary boy. Too ordinary, in fact. His neighbors swore he must have been switched at birth. There was no way someone so average could belong to a family as vibrant and eccentric as his. But Derek wasn't normal, not even close. It started small, with strange incidents that his parents dismissed as childhood pranks or coincidences. In science class, however, the peculiar truth about Derek began to surface. One scorching Tuesday afternoon, students huddled over their desks, scalpels in hand, ready to dissect dead frogs. The teacher droned on about biology, but Derek wasn't paying attention. His fingers brushed against the cold, lifeless skin of the frog, and that's when it happened. The classroom was suddenly alive with the deafening croaks of frogs. Not one or two, but dozens of them. Frogs with their stomachs stitched or flapping open, hopping angrily across the desks, causing chaos. Students screamed, leaping onto chairs as the resurrected creatures launched themselves at anything that moved. "Helios!" the teacher bellowed, though her voice barely carried over the pandemonium. The local police station quickly became familiar with Derek Helios. Constable Edward Davison, a young, ruggedly handsome officer with a reputation for being calm under pressure, was sent to the school more times than he cared to count. Each time, he found Derek sitting innocently amidst the chaos, shrugging his shoulders. They were dead before, Derek would insist, his face a mask of wide-eyed innocence. Must have been a mix-up. Edward didn't buy it for a second, but he couldn't prove otherwise. Every time Derek was at the scene of some inexplicable revival, there were no fingerprints, no physical evidence, just a growing list of bizarre reports. But the frogs were only the beginning. Derek's strange ability to bring things back to life became more pronounced as he got older. It wasn't just frogs. It was flowers in his mother's wilted garden, the stray cat run over by a car, and eventually, people. It didn't matter if they'd been gone for minutes or days. When Derek was near, death seemed to lose its grip. At first, his parents were terrified, then bewildered, and finally exasperated. "Derek!" his mother shrieked one day when he brought her prized hydrangeas back from the brink for the 10th time that week. "Stop playing God with my garden!" He tried to control it, but funerals were the worst. Derek avoided them at all costs. Not because they were depressing, but because they always ended the same way, with gasps of horror as the deceased sat up in their coffins, wounds mysteriously healed, wondering why everyone looked so shocked. "I swear," Derek muttered to himself one day after yet another expulsion from school, "I didn't ask for this. It just happens." But life had other plans for Derek Helios. Edward Davison, ever the diligent constable, began piecing together the strange occurrences around Derek. He couldn't ignore the pattern anymore. For someone who claimed to want a quiet life, Derek had a way of leaving chaos in his wake. Edward knew he'd have to keep an eye on the boy, or perhaps something more. Because Derek's power of resurgence wasn't just a quirky, inconvenient gift. It was something much bigger, much older, and much more dangerous than either of them realized. Somewhere, in the sweltering heat of Australia, something ancient stirred. Something that recognized Derek Helios for what he truly was. Not a normal boy, but the bearer of a power that could rewrite life and death itself. And it wouldn't be long before others began to take notice too. To be continued.